Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Flagler Weather Update. Today is the 19th of October, 2025, and this is a look at your weather ahead this week. So, thank you for joining us. I am still kind of dealing with a little bit of a head cold here, so I might need to pause if I have a sneeze or something coming on. So, let's go ahead and start. This is our satellite imagery. Now, these little flashes of light here represent lightning. And what we have going on is we have a cold front that's kind of pushing through the area here. Now, the National Weather Service was only forecasting maybe a 20% chance, 30% chance of showers, maybe odd thunderstorm with this. Now, the thunderstorms are very isolated, but the rain, I think, is a lot more than they expected. And sometimes that happens in weather forecasting. There's a little bit more moisture here involved than what was originally forecast. And so we're going to be, dealing with a period of rain here for the next couple hours. In Flagler County being right about here, you can see some heavier rain. It's been a little thundery in places. And then a little bit of a break, and we get some more coming in. Looks like this is weakening a little bit. So at least the next couple hours that we can expect some rain to be passing through here. So this front's going to be pushing on through, and it'll be stalling to the south of us here. So taking a look at our weather map now, here's the front coming. And then when we get to tomorrow, that front begins to stall to the south of us. High pressure builds in. You might get a little bit of a northeast breeze right along the immediate coast. And then when we get into the middle part of the week, we clear off maybe the odd shower, but generally staying dry. Maybe another front that's going to reinforce what we get starting to approach in the middle part of the week. So how are things looking weather-wise? So this is almost laughable. The Sunday chance of precipitation right now about 26%. I would argue it's 100%. So because everywhere is going to see rain and maybe a half inch or so of it, maybe a little better than that in a few places. Still calling for about 20%, 25% chance of rain overnight tonight. Again, I argue that it's higher than that, and we will probably end here in the next couple hours, and then maybe there'll be a 20% chance of additional showers or storm later tonight, but definitely the bulk of it's coming through right now. So, but when we get to tomorrow, those rain chances diminish, and it looks like through the rest of the week, we stay dry, and there's no substantial rain chances until, of course, the weekend. And of course, when we get on Saturday, maybe just an ever so slight chance of rain. We'll have to see if that holds or does it increase. There's some outdoor events going on, including that Witches Ride happening in Flagler Beach on Saturday. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the forecast temperatures. I just heard a little bit more thunder out there, so a little thundery rain moving through. So looking at our temperatures for tonight, look for lows generally near 70 at the beaches, 60s inland. Tomorrow, high temperatures with that front passing through, a little bit lower. Temperatures just getting to 80 degrees most locations, maybe mid 70s at the beaches. The ocean temperature is about 79, 78 degrees, so it will be a little cooler there. And then tomorrow, getting into Tuesday morning, lows in the 60s, maybe 70s at the beaches. We're going to be looking at a northeast wind flow, so that is going to, what that's going to do is it'll keep things warmer at the beaches at night, but cooler as you go inland when you get away from that warmer water. Now, going further on as we go into the rest of the week, looks like we're staying in the 80s. Things warm back up maybe midweek. Temperatures at night, looks like Thursday morning we're getting down to right near 60 degrees, maybe some 50s creeping in from the west there. Still warmer, though, along the beaches, so things look to cool off a little bit towards the end of the week. But overall, it looks like highs in the 70s and 80s, lows in the 60s largely, maybe some 50s here. But that's the way it's looking. We don't see any substantial cool snaps or anything like that coming down the line. Now, let's talk about winds real quick and take a look at that. And wind gust right now. We're expecting a little bit breezy conditions, maybe gusting up to 22 miles an hour. And those winds come down as we get to Tuesday. Going through the rest of the week, get to Thursday and Friday, those winds pick up, maybe gusting up to 25 miles an hour, especially right along the beaches as we go into next week. Now let's pop back to rainfall again real quick. And again, we're going to look at rainfall amounts here. I will argue that we're probably going to see higher amounts than this. So next 7-day rainfall, quarter of an inch. Some places are going to be half inch, maybe an inch with this activity that's pushing through right at the moment. So let's go ahead and go further into the future here. Well, first, before we do that, let's talk tropics. So we do have One system that is being closely watched by the National Hurricane Center, we have what they call is investigation area number 98, AL 98, is tropical system, not a depression yet, but satellite and surface observations indicate that this does not have a closed center circulation just yet, but it is moving steadily off to the west, and somewhere in this corridor, a tropical depression is likely to form. And then once you get a tropical depression, then you could possibly get a tropical storm, and then further on. But at least for right now, it looks like it's staying down in the Caribbean. Now, once it forms, once it develops, then we'll have to kind of watch and see what happens, because this doesn't mean the exact path of this system. This means they expect development to occur. Once it develops, then, historically this time of year, things that develop down this direction have a tendency to go north and then east. So where does north and east lie? Does north and east go into the Gulf and across us? Does north and east go to Cuba and well off to sea? Does north and east go somewhere in the middle? Does north and east go way off over the Atlantic Ocean? We just don't know. So this is just something that should be watched in the days ahead. But no concerns for us whatsoever right at this point in time. Going further into the future with the tropics, it looks like that's going to be a hot spot for activity through the last week of October. And that's typical for this time of the year in the hurricane season. So about a 40% chance of additional tropical development in this region during the last week of October. But as we get into the first week of November, looks like that the tropical weather engine is going to shut down, at least for a little bit. It does not mean we're off the hook with the season. The season goes all the way to the end of November. So let's go ahead and talk about the long-range forecast locally now. So this is our 6 to 10 day regular weather outlook. Now I can normally zoom in, but the website's not working. Maybe it's because of the shutdown. I don't know. But as we're going from October 25th to the 29th here, look for temperatures to be averaging above normal here in Florida, and precipitation to be above normal just the same. So as we go further now into the future, this takes us into the very beginning part of November. Look for temperatures to be actually settling down to near normal, what can be expected this time of year. Might cool off for Halloween, which that's good, because many of those costumes get quite warm when it's 80-something degrees out. And look for precipitation chances to still remain a little bit above the average. So as we go, so that's way the long-range forecast, like any long-range possible hazards here. Colder than normal temperatures stay to the north. But as we get into the last part of October here, maybe some risk of heavier rainfall in the region. We'll have to monitor that. So as we wrap things up here, and looks like that some unsettled weather will be the thing as it moves through this evening. Once that gets through, more settled conditions will be the story for the rest of the week. Anyways, everybody out there, have a great evening. Thank you for watching. Any questions, drop them in the comments, and we will catch you then. Take care. Bye-bye.